Show 115 from Cottrell's Garage. What's poppin', gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for tuning in to Wire Sports Podcast, show 115. I'm your handsome host, Gene Walzak, and to my upper left, I got the man that's in a garage or somewhere. I'm kidding. My man, Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Cottrell. How you feeling, brother?
It's a basement, man.
I got to give you credit, man. You're very serious. You take your equipment everywhere. You're right. You're about to go out of the country in like 4 hours. You're on the show with us. I appreciate that.
Ready to go.
It's love. It's all love. And in the upper right corner, fresh cut. My man does not play. When it comes to Christmas time, he gets the fresh cut, looking great.
We got sharp for Christmas. Christmas is a big deal.
Alley.
Merry Christmas show. Christmas show. Gotta get a haircut. Gotta look good.
It is a Christmas show, man. I'm not ready for that, bro. I'm not ready for the Christmas show.
It's a weird year for me because, dude, I am usually a very Christmas Eve morning running around getting everything, and I'm done. I'm done. I was done earlier today.
Look
very
at you.
Rare. I know.
I'm done too. I think I have some really good, thoughtful gifts this year. I really believe.
I'm happy with my gifts this year.
As you see the new graphic in the background, I'm loving it. I think that shout out to Kristen on Twitter. She did an incredible job putting this together. You've seen both new graphics. I think they both look great. But I'm ready to rock and roll, man. We got a ton to get into today. NFL, NCAA, football, Mount Rushmore bracket, World Cup, MLB. You got to be kidding me. Y'all ready to get rolling?
Let's do it.
Sir.
Let's get set on these people.
First on the docket, we got NFL, right? We got NFL to talk about. And it's kind of ironic because I feel like this week of the NFL this season, the NFL has been so unpredictable. Oh, Brandon's first place in the college football pick. And we'll get into that. Brandon, relax. Already shouting out. My man Brandon is in the quarter mile into the 2 mile race. And he's going, I'm in first place, bro. Just
trust me, if Brandon ever does well, have it be fantasy football, pick 'em, winning a bet or whatever, you will know about it. I promise you.
And I know I'm going to spoil a couple. You got to be kidding me this week. But this was the most wild NFL week I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a hold my beer moment more than what the Patriots did on Sunday after what the Colts did on Saturday. Worst loss I've ever seen. Patriots hold my beer. We'll figure this out. And I kind of want to start there. And I don't want to be what would you consider worse? The way the Colts lost or the way the Patriots lost? Because both of them, if you didn't watch, man, the Colts blew a 33-0 halftime lead, largest blown lead in NFL history. And you think that'd be a no doubt about it, slam dunk. But the Colts stink, right? They're not going to make the playoffs. Whereas the Patriots, who were tied for the last playoff spot, 24-24, they walk it in overtime and they start playing dipsy-do, flipperoo, start throwing the football backwards. Jacoby Myers threw the football to Mac Jones, and Chandler Jones was just it's the wrong Jones. And then used the L5 truck stick, ran over Mac Jones and ran into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. I don't know which one's worse. So I kind of wanted to ask your opinions on what do you view worse? The team that just blew their playoff chances by being ridiculous, or the team that blew the largest lead in NFL history? Cottrell, starts off.
I feel like I have to go with the Vikings here, man. Not the Vikings, but the Colts. The Colts lead to the Vikings. Look, I get it. Just made a horrible decision. What's probably going to go down as the worst decision in NFL history. But at the same time, when you give up a lead where you're up, 33-0, the game is literally over at that point. And just the effort that you were seeing from guys like Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor single-handedly gave the Colts defense 2 interceptions that game. So, it seemed like the Vikings were doing everything that they can to lose that game. And for you to still find a way to lose, it's just unbelievable. And it's just another notch under, and I'm not saying it's all his fault, but just another notch under Matt Ryan's belt, where he loses these games where they got these crazy leads.
And the funny thing about that is, and I'll go right to Shally in a second, but I heard a couple people on Twitter, on Facebook, they're like, oh, you can't blame Matt Ryan. They scored 36 points. The hell you can't. That defense scored all those points. Matt Ryan had 1 touchdown. He had and in that second half, they were 3 and out, turnover, 3 and out. I got the play chart. I pulled it up just for the hell of it, right? Their points all came off turnovers. They were barely moving the football. Pick 6, block punt. I'm looking at the whole thing, 33-0. They had 4 field goals, a block punt, a pick 6, and then they had a pick that brought them down to like the 8-yard line, and Matt Ryan threw a 1-yard touchdown. That wasn't on that. Matt Ryan didn't get them that 33-point lead. That was not on the Colts offense. Now in the second half, here's the play chart, right? Play by play. Brought it up for you guys just because I love you. So 33-0. I'm just going to go by there. 4 plays, 14 yards. 6 plays, 26 yards. Field goal, 36. Which, by the way, 6 plays, 26 yards, which means they got the ball off a turnover or off a long return. 3 and out. 4 plays, 15 yards. 3 and out. Fumble. 5 plays, 20 yards. Turnover. 3 and out. And then a punt in overtime. That's you lost the game. Let's stop taking blame off Matt Ryan. Like, that's absurd. Matt Ryan was awful in the second half. Their offense was like a church boy at 14 years old. He was abstinent. There was nothing going on. Nothing.
I mean, I agree there for sure, but I just don't want to put it all on Matt Ryan, because at a point, defense you can't put up 36. Not necessarily saying like unanswered, but I mean, you can't give up what you gave up in that small amount of time either.
You're right. I agree with you. Shally, what's your thoughts? Which one would you go with?
No, I kind of agree. I mean, I think it's comparing one play that is very, trendworthy and hard and funny to watch at the same time versus an absolute, collective effort and colossal choke job in Indy. So in Minnesota, sorry. So I'll go with Indy. I agree. I think a lot of it goes on Matt Ryan. I don't think all of it goes on Matt Ryan though. I think that, Gene brought up a good point with the play, with the play calling and the play sheet. The play calling in the second half is terrible. That was the most like, let's just take 3 minutes off the clock and punt. Where, they're not possibly going to score again in the next possession again. And it just kept happening. And someone's got to go on the defense. Listen, you get spotted a 33-0 lead in the NFL. You have to win the game. I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't care how bad your offense plays at that point going forward. All of it. I mean, you're up 33-0 in an NFL game. You have to win that football game. I think it was a colossal, just absolute shit show of 30 minutes of a football game from Indy. And I just think it's crazy, even go back to the beginning of our show, how highly talked about the Colts organization was, 2 years ago. And, Chris Ballard's great, this, that. And they're a mess right now. They're an absolute mess. We've talked about Irsay on the show numerous times. They made Carson the scapegoat last year. They bring in Matt Ryan, who's been terrible. They're going to start Nick Foles this week now. They're benching him again. And Jim Irsay's all over the place. It's just crazy how far that franchise has fallen in 2 years. But I mean, I think the answer is definitely Indianapolis.
I'll go outside the box here, just maybe for the argument's sake. My answer is New England, man. What the hell were they doing? I've never seen, and I'm not kidding when I tell you this. Like, you guys, I don't have to say the name. I don't have to say the play. I could just say the name, and you know exactly what play I'm talking about. Leon Lett. Y'all remember Leon Lett, right? The blocked field goal that he dove on like a dummy, and then Miami recovered the ball and won the football game. This was worse than Leon Lett. You're going to talk about Jacoby Myers. Listen, I'll put a little of that, and my question would be this, right? How much of that blame would you put on Jacoby Myers? I did the math. I put 85% of the game's blame on one player. I put 10% on Ramondre Stevenson for tossing the ball back to him instead of just going down. You don't start that trend of doing what they did. And I put 5% on Bill Belichick for not saying, if we're going to run the ball up the middle, let's just kneel the ball and go to overtime. Like, did you think you were going to break a 65-yard run for a touchdown? I don't understand. So I'll go
I disagree with that
85% on Jacoby Myers.
I disagree with, because I mean, if you break one and it's just a run, some blame there because he's the head coach of that football team. Like, I would assume that running the football, worst case scenario is that maybe there's there and you get on top, but I don't think that was crazy, because if there was like a defensive holding call that gets tackled in that situation, I would say with Bill is he didn't want to put to try a Hail Mary. He said Matt couldn't make it for the Hail Mary, but I feel like that'd be the only thing that I'd want to see there. So I'll probably go. I like your numbers. I wouldn't put it on Bill for calling the run play there.
I agree with him, actually. I think, Gene, I think you're pretty spot on, honestly, with the percentages. I just don't think at any point in that conversation, like Cottrell said, that when they were in that huddle before they went out, Bill was like, if you go through the hole and nobody's there and you get 20 yards downfield, start lateraling the ball and try to do that. So I wouldn't give any blame to Bill Belichick either. Again, I don't think that was ever instructed. If it was, then it was. I think he did the safe thing and said, hey, we'll run the ball up the middle, like you said. If God forbid you break it, go and see what happens. But if not, we'll go to overtime and we'll try to beat him in overtime. Stevenson, I think he's like, I'm going down. My guy's right there. Maybe, one lateral, he's going the other way. He catches the defense over pursuing. Maybe we get lucky. From there, when it gets to Jacoby Myers, and then he turns around and throws it 30 yards backwards and gets his quarterback run over. I don't know what the hell he's thinking. I don't know. I just don't know how he just doesn't step out of bounds. Like, okay, like we're done. Like, I get his explanation. I'm trying to make a play, but at some point,
Mac Jones.
I agree. Did you not see the big ass linebacker standing in front of him that you threw the ball to? Like, it's the football. The lack of football IQ there is staggering to me.
That's worse than the Chris Webber timeout. It is.
I don't know about all that.
Worst.
And I am the biggest Michigan guy there is, and I don't know if I would still take Weber off the hook for that. Especially, here's the thing: if you watch that, they literally break the huddle and tell them they have no timeouts left. Like, it was conveyed numerous times, and the dude went down the court and called a timeout. It's not good.
Tried to call it at first. He went a couple steps.
Yeah. Should have been technical, traveling, and then technical again. It was. I don't want to talk about that play, but his excuse of trying to make a play is, I get it, but at the same time, you have to know your situation. You have to know your team's situation, that you're tied for last place and or tied for the last playoff spot heading into the week. You just can't lose that football game that way. You can't do it. There's 3 weeks left. Like I said, if they miss the playoff game, they miss the playoff by one game. I don't know. I don't know what happens to him. I really don't. I can't imagine the conversation that was had after that game with Bill Belichick and him. Like, it couldn't have been pretty.
The next thing I got to talk about, and this is just based off last week's games, is, I don't think the question is if, it's how far can the Lions go, man? They don't stop losing. They're going to make the playoffs. over Washington or New York. They're going to make the playoffs. How far can they go? Because right now it'd be mapped up where they make the playoffs and they play like a team like Minnesota, right? Do you think Minnesota wants to see them again after they just?
I'll say what I said last week. They especially if they go into the playoff, if they don't lose the rest of the year, they go into the playoffs winning 7 of 8. I promise you, nobody seeded 2 through 4 wants Detroit getting on a plane coming to your stadium. None of them. And I said it last week. I'll say it more emphatically again this week. Especially with Minnesota being a divisional game, that is the last thing you want to see. That is the last team you want to see coming to your stadium. Tampa Bay, the way Tampa Bay is playing right now, Detroit might go into Tampa Bay and win by 10. They might be favored. And I'll tell you this, man, there'd be nothing that would please me more to watch Detroit go into Cowboy Stadium and beat the Cowboys. Because I promise you, if that game, whatever. Yeah, it's true, it can't happen. But if they went in there and that game got tight and it was tight late, you know what's coming. But I'm telling you, man, dude's got the worst contract in football.
Control. Let me ask you a question. I don't think the Jags could make the playoffs. I mean, they could, but I'll get into that in a minute.
They need a lot of help.
A lot of help. But Control, the Lions, how far can they go?
They're playing good football, obviously, at the right time. The NFC doesn't really have any powerhouse. So you have team like obviously the Cowboys, they wouldn't have to go through them. But then
I feel like we're watching Kung Fu.
The 49ers, that would be,
so you're right. The 49ers, that's a next topic on the debate is Brock Purdy. I give up. I tap out. Right now. I tap out. I know what I see with Brock Purdy. I know he's not a good quarterback, but what am I going to argue? It's 3-0. The guy went from 100-1 rookie of the year odds to 15-1 in 3 weeks. And I'm not saying that he's playing like unworldly, but like I tap out. I can't. I don't know what to say. That 49ers defense is so good. That Kyle Shanahan's system is so good. I tap out.
He's just playing well within the system. He's doing what they're asking him to do. Like you said, Kyle Shanahan is one of the best offensive minds in the game, if not the best. They're setting him up to be successful, and he's making short to intermediate throws that he needs to. I'll give him credit. He's hitting people on the run and hitting them in stride, and he's doing the little things that you would need him to do for that team to continue to win. And you got to give him all the credit in the world for that. He's not going out throwing 60-yard passes and hitting routes like that. But you're getting a lot of CMAC, and you're getting a lot of plays that are schemed very well for them to be successful. And to his credit, and he deserves that, he's playing within the system. He's taking what Shanahan is setting up for him. He's taking what the defense is giving him. And like you said, the other important part is that the defense is. They have the best defense in the league. That unit is elite. It's them and the Eagles. I think that is the worst possible matchup for Detroit. If they get, I don't think can they get them? I guess they can.
Yeah.
That is
2 or 3.
Yeah, that is the team. If I'm Detroit, I don't want to see. I don't know if they can go to San Fran and win that game. I think they have a better than 50% chance to win one playoff game. I don't think they go further than that, but I think they have a chance to get back to your original question, which I didn't answer. I think they have a better 50-50 shot to win one game. I think it really shakes down to who they play. San Francisco is the one team I think would handle them. They're not going to be able to run the ball, and then I think you're asking a lot of that team at that point. But I think they win a game. Why not?
Their defense has been playing out of this world.
Mm-hmm.
They have, and I think that I think Minnesota's kind of getting exposed, even though they snuck out of last week with a win. Lost 2 weeks ago. I think everybody is seeing Minnesota for what they are. Let's talk about this week, man. We got a lot of good games coming up this week. Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers are now 7-point favorites at Washington. We're not going to talk about that too much. That'll be in San Fran. But game of the week, guys. And it kind of sucks because the number one seed in the East has locked everything up. The NFC is essentially one game win or a loss by one of the three teams that are behind us. We can't go 0-3 and we can't have them guys go 3-0. And Jalen Hurts, I kind of want to get your opinion on what you guys thought about the shoulder strain, the shoulder injury that's of Jalen Hurts. And I'll give you my opinion. I think it's Fugazi. I'm sure everyone's shoulder is hurt or their knee is hurt or whatever, but I think they have it locked up. They know the most likely matchup for them in round 2 is Dallas. Why in the world would you have any game plan or show them anything this week? He sits this week. He comes back next week. You beat the Saints and you walk into the playoffs. But why would you show Dallas anything this week?
I'm not going to go that far in the conspiracy with you. I think it factors into the point where the game doesn't matter and you are playing Dallas. I think the injury's legit. I think he's a sprained shoulder, just throwing shoulder. There's literally zero reason for him to play Saturday. None.
Agreed.
None.
I'm not saying he's not injured. I'm just saying.
No, I know what you're saying. I think it's more the injury than anything. I think if he did play, I do agree with you. I don't think you're going to see certain things in that game. But I don't think that factored. I think if he was 90% healthy, he was playing. I think I agree with you on the part. I think they keep parts of the playbook hidden, and they're not going to show certain things because you are going to have to play him for a third time, and you're going to have to have different things up your sleeve to out scheme them and break tendencies on offense, especially. But I mean, with Micah Parsons playing, potentially him getting hit by him or somebody else like that, there's just no reason for him to play. But I'm not going full tinfoil hat and saying that's the reason they're sitting him. I think it's more the injury than anything.
Control.
I agree with that. Jalen Hurts has been playing. Why would you even risk making that worse right before I fully understand the why to sit him, but I don't think if it was anybody this week, then you said somehow, some way, if the Eagles find a way to win this game, see Jalen Hurts for another week. It might the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that Jeff Barone hit it spot on. Brandon, control deep in that basement microphone. I think Jeff Barone hit it spot on. He said Saints game has more implications for the Eagles. You get a better draft pick. You want to beat the Saints. I don't know, man. I'm not saying he's not hurt, but I think they're using the fact that he's a little dinged up to use that as the excuse of being well, he's not going to play this week. If this was a game if this was game 8, he'd play. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, agreed.
But being the situation that it is, knowing that you only need one win, I don't know, man. I just I think that it's hilarious to me that they would pretend it's just he's so injured he can't play. I don't think that's the real thing.
Well, I don't think they're pretending that because they really haven't even officially ruled him out yet. I mean, I think we're all here. We can read between the lines. He's not going to play, but I mean, they're still saying that he's game time. So we'll see. I expect him. I don't think there's any chance he warms up. I was listening to Morgani and earlier, and he was saying that the game plan wise, it's totally switched over to they're preparing for Minshew to start. So I think internally, even though he's not playing, I think they'll do gamesmanship and try to hold that facade as long as they can that Dallas might get hurt, but he's not going to play. And God for you, I mean, you got to realize when you get hurt, in the game, that there's ways to keep it loose, and there's it's not going to hurt as much. It's definitely a situation where when you go home, and it tightens up and you go to sleep and you wake up the next morning, which is what happened to him, you realize something's wrong. So, I mean, everybody's played, tweaked an ankle in a game and kept playing, and then the next day you wake up and you can barely walk. It happens all the time. It's happening, it's happening to Gene this year with his knee. There's certain things you can play through. He's got a very mild shoulder strain, and it's a throwing shoulder. I think they're just being overly precautious.
Look, you can juice him up, Chow. You can juice him up.
You can, but there's no reason to.
Yeah, I think that with Jalen Hurts, it's 100% an area where you sit him down and you tell him, listen, no matter what, you want to play, it doesn't matter. You're not going to play this week. We're going to see Gardner Minshew is going to play. It's going to be his Jeff Garcia moment. He'll bring – and by the way, I still don't think it's a guarantee the Cowboys win that football game.
No,
I don't
agree
at all. And I think for everything that we're saying about the Eagles not showing the Cowboys everything they have, they're not stupid on their end. I'm not a Mike McCarthy fan to begin with, but they're not dumb either, right? They know they're most likely going to see us in the second round of playoffs. So why would they show us what they have, right? They're not going to show us what they have. So I think this is a very vanilla game. It becomes somewhat of a preseason game.
I'm glad you said that because I was scrolling earlier and I can't remember the guy's name. I wish I'd give him credit, but he was adamant. He's like, I am pounding the under in this game, and for kind of the same reason you just said. He's like, I think it's gonna be a very vanilla game. I think it's gonna be line up, run the ball first and second down, third down pass, try to get a first down. If not, punt and be done with it. Dude is adamant that the under is gonna hit. And I tend to agree. I mean, you're not the game isn't very beneficial for the Cowboys to go out and win either, other than bragging rights thing. So I don't think, like you said, I don't think Mike McCarthy's going to go out there and throw the kitchen sink of the playbook out on the field to try to get a win against us either. So I think it has the potential to be a very ho hum game per se. But Godfrey, I mean, I don't know what you're getting at, bud. Like, he's not faking the injury. He has a shoulder sprain. He has a slight tear in his shoulder, his throwing shoulder. I think if it was his non-throwing shoulder, I think he starts this week. I don't think it's even an issue. I just don't know why we're questioning this so much. I don't get it.
CJ's popping in on the wire line. Why would you play him in a situation they're in and benefit with the position they're in? They're not going to. Wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay beats the Cowboys or someone beats San Fran or Minnesota. I don't know.
It's the proverbial everybody's waiting for Tampa Bay to flip the switch thing, and I think we kind of all tend to agree with that. But I mean, wouldn't they have done it by now? I mean, they look great for they look great for drives here and there, and then they can't move they go 3 down 4 times in a row. The offense is just not in sync. The issues they're having with the offensive line it's just catching up to them every game. You got these guys, you got Godwin, you got Evans that can go out and run these great deep patterns, and they can't keep Brady upright long enough for them to get downfield and get open. And that team's not designed to throw. You're not throwing 4-yard hitch routes to Evans all the time. And on top of that, honestly, Brady hasn't been great. I mean, so it's a lot. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to that point. I'm not going to be surprised if they go in the playoffs and beat somebody. I won't, because it's Brady, because it's Tampa Bay. But I don't have the same feeling I did about them like I did last year. I'll say that.
So speaking of Tampa Bay, they have a win this week. They basically have a walkthrough. They're playing the Cardinals' third-string quarterback, and that's their Sunday night football game. I don't know how that didn't get flexed out. Or what are we doing? Maybe because the Saturday night football and the Saturday night football game is terrible too.
I'm telling you, it's because it's Christmas. I don't think they're going to flex them out and then tell 2 other teams, "Oh, you're playing on Christmas night now." So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That would be my guess. 10 weeks ago, you looked at that game, you're like, "Oh, Tom Brady versus Kyler, prime time," but that is not what we're getting.
Tampa Bay's last 3 games are Arizona, Carolina, and then Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be 9-8. That's what they're going to be. It's just then we'll see what happens.
All right, so last big game of the week before we get into our pick'em and move forward. I want to talk about there's 2. let me give this game a little bit of action. Cottrell is back. We missed him. But let me give this game a little action real quick. There's some talk that the Green Bay Packers aren't officially out of the playoffs. They're playing at Miami. Miami has now lost, like 4 in a row? I don't know. They've looked terrible recently, but they actually look good in the Buffalo game. I think they all but outplayed Buffalo at Buffalo in that snow game.
Agreed.
But with that being said, do you give Green Bay any chance to make the playoffs? Aaron Rodgers seems to be hitting his stride. Cottrell, let's hear what you got to say.
Is he back? Is he audible?
I just hope.
Oh man,
he can hear it. He can hear it. He knows. Barely, it's delayed. You can hear it like in a delay. Cottrell, I love you, man. And listen, the show must go on. We got you regardless. I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, it's just, audio. He's trying to do it on vacation like I used to do it in the DR, which was terrible. It didn't work. And I appreciate you, man. Like, you're everything to this show. And listen, if you could call him with your phone, I don't know. Maybe the phone works better. We want to hear from you because I need to get your picks. I need to get your Mount Rushmores, like all your and plus your World Cup breakdown. You would have wanted to have France in the finals. So, but we were really, I guess Bill made a really good point in our private text, but we'll talk about that when we get to the World Cup. Bill, do you think that there's anything that, any way that the Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers make it back in the playoffs?
Listen, I mean, everybody knows there's no love lost between myself and Aaron Rodgers. Mathematically, there's a way for them to get there. And if you have Aaron Rodgers, I mean, when there's a will, there's a way type thing. I mean, it's, this time of year, he tends to pull things out of nowhere. I mean, he gets kind of like that Tom Brady treatment, and he gets it deservedly so because he's done it so many times. That being said, I'm not going too far in this game because this game might show up in Uncle Shally's super fade corner later. But it's I don't. If you're asking me if I think they make it, I don't think they make it.
Bro.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't make it, but at the same time, you got two teams East who I also don't have a lot of confidence in. So I think the Lions are going to obviously get one of those. But if I had to say, although you guys know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers.
At Miami, at home versus Minnesota, at home versus Detroit. They could go 0-3. CJ, I agree with you.
They could.
They could easily go.
You imagine that? God, can you imagine that last week? That game, that Detroit Green Bay games for the last spot.
Yo, facts.
Fighting Dan Campbell's. Let's go.
Listen, I gotta give Dan Campbell all the credit in the world. My man has been. Give him credit.
Listen, if you do, you have to. I mean, he said it was going to be a couple-year thing, and like he totally overhauled the coaching staff, and he said he's like, I need guys like me. I need dogs in here, and that's why we lost Deuce Staley. He went there. Deuce Staley is an in-your-face type guy. Like, you're not playing hard, you're not playing, and it's a culture thing. And I think that was something that was lacking for a long time there, and it's not now. That team is bought in. Jeff Goff's having a good year. He kind of looks like, he feels comfortable. He's finally got somebody behind him, that's saying he's the guy, and he's playing well. They got some weapons on that team. Like I said, I mean, it's if you watch Hard Knocks, there's no way you could watch that show and not be like, I would run through a wall for that guy. And he's got 53 guys that are willing to do it, man. And that's, again, I know the whole Lambeau Field mystique and everything else. If you need to win a game, that is not the team you want to see coming to town week 17 for your playoff life. That is not an ideal situation. Aaron Rodgers or not.
Well, the last game we got to get into before we do our pick 'em is Cincinnati versus New England. New England coming off that major loss. Cincinnati coming off another win on the road. Has to go on the road again, play at Gillette, play against New England, New England's defense. Man, I'll tell you, every week I push Joe Burrow further into the conversation. At this point, I'm putting him ahead of Josh Allen. It's better than Josh Allen. I'm telling you, he's better than Josh Allen. It's Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. The gap between him and Justin Herbert just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just factual. It's laughable at this point. Like, it's like comparing Jalen Hurts to Dak Prescott. It's not close.
Bro didn't even play well last week. He
Burrow
played great.
played fine. 4 touchdowns. Guy throws touchdowns. I don't know what to tell you.
He got handed the ball on the 20-yard line 4 times. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not arguing that Joe Burrow is not elite. I'm not making that case, but I'm not saying he's better than Josh Allen after the way he played last week. That's crazy. He got handed the ball on the 30
I don't know
twice.
why you would put him. I don't know why you would put Josh Allen ahead of him. Give me a logical reason.
Because he threw 4 touchdowns from the 10-yard line. Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen now.
Joe Burrow's got more playoff wins. Joe Burrow is more successful than Josh Allen. Joe Burrow's got more Pro Bowls. like let's call it like it is. Josh Allen didn't make the Pro Bowl last year. Just like not that matters, but it's an all-star game if we're being honest, he probably shouldn't make it this year in the AFC. He shouldn't. I think.
Yeah, Gene loves to devalue certain parts of the Cincinnati offense, which isn't like he's not blasphemous about it, but we've had these arguments before. Like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, who as a unit, who has the best weapons? It's Joe Burrow, and it's not close. Yeah, not close. So yeah, like I mean, you said something about Herbert again.
Offensive line out of those 3 too.
Their offensive line is nowhere near as bad as you make it out to be.
It was way worse last year than it is this year.
Agreed.
It was way worse the first 4 games of the season than it is now. But yes, it's not close though. Out of the 3 offensive lines, it's the Chiefs, then the Bills, then the Bengals.
Yeah, give Joe Burrow or give Josh Allen any kind of running back. I agree. Like he is the offense. Like I'll put it this way: if you put Josh Allen on Cincinnati, Cincinnati's better with Josh Allen.
That's the easiest way.
And Buffalo is nowhere near as good with Joe Burrow.
Okay, so I'll pull something up for you because I feel like that this gets overlooked. Josh Allen's now had 11, 15, and 10 interceptions in the last 3 years. Turns the ball over at a significant rate.
Yeah, he throws about 60 times a game because he has to.
He's a gunslinger, though. Gunslingers turn the ball over.
Okay. Joe Burrow's got more touchdown passes this year than Josh Allen. He's got better weapons. Okay, fine. He made a Super Bowl, he went into Kansas City and did what Josh Allen couldn't. And guess what? If you were making a bet on who was going to go to the Super Bowl this year, are you picking Buffalo or Cincinnati? Right now, I'm picking Cincinnati. That's where I'm at. Buffalo's got a better defense, right?
If everybody's healthy, yeah. Again, Joe Burrow is great. Joe Burrow has a very good defense, and he has elite weapons on the offensive side. You can't say that for Mahomes or Josh Allen.
Hey, listen, I will say this. Joe Burrow was being very undervalued for the last year.
Who undervalued him? He's never been lower than like 5 on a list. Anybody's list. How is that undervalued?
Bro, people were putting Justin Herbert over him. It was embarrassing.
Okay, so this year he's outplayed him, and now he's in the elite category. How is that undervaluing him? If people are valuing him as he goes, he took a step this year. That's what they've all done. So he's in the elite category. Nobody's even arguing that with you. Like, why are you acting like people are like, oh, Joe Burrow is the 15th best quarterback in the league? Nobody's ever said that, ever.
No. Look, so you have it, Patrick, Josh, Joe, right?
Is that what I said last week?
Mahomes, Allen, Burrow.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have it Mahomes, Burrow, Allen. I'm not being that crazy.
All right, man.
I just have it. It's hilarious.
What do you have, Joe?
I mean, I got Pat, Josh, and then Joe.
Okay. So I'm on my branch, and I'm okay on my branch. My branch is very lonely, but
this is like one of those things, like you're making it out that like he's getting disrespected, and he's not, like, at all.
Don't make it like it's blasphemous that I have Joe Burrow over Josh Allen.
I didn't say it was blasphemous. Okay. You're making it sound like it's blasphemous that nobody's like that, like he's been getting like discredit and shit on for the last like 2 years. And like even preseason before he's clearly made a jump this year. And everybody will admit that. But even coming into the year, nobody had him lower than 5. Like we didn't. Nobody nationally. Nobody had him lower than 5.
People had him below 5.
Who?
I could pull up lists.
All right. And if like, so what was he 6 maybe? Like maybe like somebody
pull up
sneak
lists.
Lamar Jackson in front of him. All right.
People
I'll wait
arguing
for the
Lamar
list.
over him. People arguing.
I never argued that.
Derek Carr over him.
Who?
Before the season started.
All right. I need to see those clips.
We can find them.
All right, you gotta
who
find
do you got
them.
in this game? Do you think that Cincinnati continues rolling at New England, or do you think New England, their defense gets it together and gets them a win that they much need?
This game is also in Uncle Shally's super fade corner, so I will not be picking it right now. But I like your boy's chances. I'll leave it there for now.
Oh, we look like a Bengals pick. Cantrell, I'm begging. I'm hoping to all the gods of internet that you're caught up and I can hear your response. Burrow over Mac Jones this week in New England. What do you think?
I'm not taking Burrow over Mac. I think go down Jamar and just from somebody else. Those Bengals receivers are banged. I think they find a way to win in Gillette.
Okay. So let's get into our pick 'em. We can't get the thing up because we're doing our best this week. And that's fine.
I got it.
Oh, you got it. I didn't want to show this. Why are we showing this? I don't need to show this. This is terrible.
It is crazy.
Can we pretend we don't have the graphic?
It is crazy that I am still in this contest.
It's crazy to me that I was 70% the last 2 years picking NFL football games, and I'm below 50%. I am sick to my stomach. Thank you. I needed it removed. I was throwing up. It was happening internally, and now I'm back. CJ. Oh, man.
He's trying, bro.
All right. So I think you're hopping off, aren't you? But yeah, I think he's going to
I'm here
on the page.
I think he's just going to put him on the page because if it breaks up, we're not going to really know what he's picking. So I think that's why he said it.
All right. Shally, give me your 3 this week.
All right, baby. Wire to Wire presents Uncle Shally's Super Sunday Fade Spotlight Corner. We're back. Week 16 picks. Try to win you some money when you're at your holiday party this weekend. So you don't got to listen to Uncle Mildred tell her 3 stories that she tells every Christmas. Or you don't got to watch your creepy uncle, keep slamming eggnog in the corner. So here we go. First pick. I'm going Jeans, Cincinnati Fighting Bengals, -3 at New England. I think they get it done. I think everybody's hyping up New England's defense a little bit more than it is. I think they're a little bit on skates after last week. I think it's going to be really, really, really interesting to see what their response is to how that game lost how they lost that game in Las Vegas. That being said, I know it'll be cold in Gillette, but it's cold in Cincinnati this time of year too. I like the Bengals defense, and I like Joe Burrow in that offense to go in there and get it done. -3. I'll take them and run. I think the Bengals win outright. Probably 27-17, somewhere in there. I like the Bengals. Pick number 2, the other game we already talked about, Green Bay at Miami. Miami -3.5. Give me the Dolphins at home. They've lost 3 in a row. Gene's point, like he said, I agree. I think for long stretches of that game in Buffalo last week, they were outplaying Buffalo. They've been away for 3 weeks. They finally go home. They can thaw out. They get their take their relaxing time back on South Beach and play in the sand a little bit. I like the Dolphins a lot at home. -3.5 against Green Bay. I think they put the final nail in Aaron Rodgers' coffin for the year. Last pick I'm picking. We talked about this as well. Detroit -2.5 at Carolina. Give me the Fighting Dan Campbells. Media's getting behind them now. There's a whole lot of hype. I think they're just about as good as football as anybody in the NFL right now. I think they go to Carolina. The defense is going to impose their will. Carolina stinks. They got blown out last week. I like Detroit a lot, -2.5. I think they get on the road and get it done. And they go into week 17 with maybe possibly being in the playoffs or still right on the outside looking in. But they're they're hype, man. They're ready to go. I like Detroit. Those are my 3 picks.
All right, so let me start with mine. I'll start with mine, and I'm gonna read Cottrell's all for you because Cottrell's my guy. Essentially, I'm a fade god right now. You can fade me if you want to because my picks have been so bad. That's okay. I'll start with Kenny Pickett coming back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm on it, man. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. In order for him not to have a losing season, he's got to win this week. Give me the Steelers minus 2.5 over the Raiders. Raiders coming off that emotional high. The Steelers getting Kenny Pickett back at home. That defense is too good. Give me the Steelers minus 2.5. I think they win the game by double digits. Second one. Is there any team that's fading faster than the Seattle Seahawks? My answer would be no. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs to absolutely blow the doors off of Kansas City this week. Minus 9.5 won't be enough. Yeah, I'll take Kansas City minus 19.5 if I could. So I'll take the Chiefs minus 9.5 in that game. And for my last one this week, I got a big one for you. Give me the under 32.5. You heard that right. Under 32.5 in Browns versus Saints. They said you're supposed to be a blizzard. Neither one of those offenses are any good. You got 2 awful quarterbacks right now. And listen, Deshaun Watson could be good in the future, but right now he's terrible. And he stinks. So let's not lie and tell ourselves that they just played a 13-3 game versus Baltimore. The Browns defense is looking better. The Saints defense is good, and neither offense can move the ball. I think that game will finish 9-6 Cleveland. So with that being said, I'll take the under 32.5. Cottrell's picks. Cottrell, you can put yourself on. I'll read them for you. Make yourself big, and then I'll sound like you can word the games, and I got you. So we got the Bills minus 8.5 over the Bears. Cottrell does not believe that the Bears are any good, even though they gave the Eagles a fight last week. Buffalo just gets it going. The Bears defense can't stop anybody. Josh Allen gets it rolling. Bills comfy. Cottrell posted this one, and I actually like this one. Vikings minus 3.5 at home versus the Giants. The Giants are also another team that's faded. The Minnesota Vikings get that 33-point comeback win. They continue rolling. Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettas continues to go off, and the Vikings win at home, minus 3.5. And the last one on the docket, Dan Campbell and those Detroit Lions, minus 2.5 at Sam Darnold and those Carolina Panthers. The Detroit Lions are in the playoff hunt, man. That's where they are. So the Lions, minus 2.5 at Carolina. They keep finding ways to win football games. Now all they got to do is beat Sam Darnold. That's the pick'em segment. We got Mount Rushmore, fellas. All right, so this is fun. This is wild. This is the greatest Mount Rushmores. And this is 1-1. 1 and 1A. There's no B here. I'm going to read them off for everyone listening at home, just so you can understand how amazing these Mount Rushmores are. For Boston, you have the greatest of all time, the GOAT, Tom Brady. The best hitter ever to play the game of baseball, Ted Williams. The legend himself. I'm going to go right over in this corner. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to dribble 3 times. And I'm going to shoot this 3-pointer in your face, Larry Bird. And then make the shot. The legend of Larry walking in and saying, I just wanted to know who's going to finish second tonight in the 3-point contest. Larry Bird.
It's a great story.
It is, right? And then Bobby Orr, Boston Bruins legend, absolute stud, top 3-4 hockey player ever to play the game. You got stud after stud after stud on this side of the list. And as if you think that can't get better, it could. It could. We're arguing. Ready? Joe Montana, 4-0 in Super Bowls. The greatest quarterback before the greatest quarterback. The mantle was passed from Montana to Brady, and there's not much arguing. The greatest wide receiver ever to play the game. And listen, if we're being honest, he's probably the best football player ever. There's arguments in almost every position on the football field. Was it Reggie White? Was it Lawrence Taylor? Was it Tom Brady? Was it Joe Montana? Was it Walter Payton? Was it Emmitt Smith? Was it Barry Sanders? Was it Jim Brown? It's Jerry Rice, greatest wide receiver ever. And any argument for Randy Moss, I can tell you right now, they're under the age of 30. They're the only arguments you're going to find for Randy Moss. The best baseball player ever, all-around baseball player ever, Willie Mays. This guy has the most monster catch ever. Over-the-shoulder catch. You still see it today. Guy hit over 600 home runs. Stud player on both sides, and he played center field. And the guy that changed the game in NBA basketball. It doesn't matter. The three-point line doesn't matter. He'll shoot it from half court. There's never been a guy. When we talk about the greatest shooters ever, you say it's Steph and then who? Stephen Curry. And to be honest with you, out of the 8 guys on this list, Steph Curry's probably 8th. He's probably 8th. And that's silly. That is silly. But when I'm ranking these players, and I'll go first and I'll go right to Shally and Control if you want to type yours in or whatever. But I'll go first here. And I'm going to give you my breakdown. And then Shally, I know you'll break it down yourself. The way I look at this is I look at Tom Brady is going to have the edge over Joe Montana. That's the easiest comparison. The easiest comparison is Brady versus Montana. So I'll go 1-0 Boston. And I say 1 because the gap between 1 and 2 is not much. Just a 1-point gap. Willie Mays versus Ted Williams is the next way I look at this. I look at Willie Mays as the greatest, Ted Williams' greatest hitter ever. Willie Mays' greatest baseball player ever. I'm taking Willie Mays 1 point back to San Francisco. So now I got it 1-1. The next one, I go basketball. I got Steph Curry and Larry Bird. Larry Bird is 2 points better than Steph Curry. Larry Bird rebounded, passed the ball. I mean, listen, if Steph Curry's 10, Larry Bird's 6. So you're giving a 2-point edge, 3 games to 1, Boston right now. But then you get to the final part of the equation, and Jerry Rice is the greatest wide receiver, greatest football player ever. I will take a 2-point advantage for Jerry Rice. So that evens the score up at 3-3. So who wins? Who wins? I'll give you my answer after Shally goes.
What the hell is that? Just pick.
I'm going San Francisco for my pick. I'm going San Fran. That'll give the first 3 points to San Fran, and we will vote.
All right, so Cottrell's in here. So Cottrell's Boston.
So I'll read it for you. Cottrell goes Tom over Joe, Larry over Steph, Ted and Willie tight, Jerry over Bobby. But give me Boston. And he spelled it Bawstaun. Boston. It's 3-3. Shally, you have to be the decider right now on the show. Who gets the early 3-point advantage for when we get into the fan voting?
So for me, I mean, you kind of hit everything I wanted to say.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's spot on. I think you take Joe and Willie and Tom and Ted off, and it's kind of like you said, it's pretty much a wash. This comes down to how you value Jerry Rice, Steph Curry, Larry Bird, and Bobby Orr. I think when it's all said and done, I think Steph, could end up in front of Larry. But that's projection. Like we ran into this with Trout earlier. You have to go off of what he's done so far. Steph Curry's the best shooter ever. Agreed. Larry Bird was a better basketball player than Steph Curry overall.
Agreed.
Then you get down to this. And this is really what it boils down to for me. I think you discredit Bobby Orr a little bit, Gene. I think
I'm
Jerry
third
Rice,
greatest hockey player ever.
right? So I think Jerry Rice is the best wide receiver ever. I agree with your sentiment on that. That I don't think it's close. I don't really know where the argument is. I think he's the best wide receiver. This kind of gets back to like the Willie versus Ted thing, though. I think Jerry Rice is probably better at his position than Bobby Orr was. I think Bobby Orr is a better overall hockey player than Jerry Rice was football player.
Whoa.
Third best player ever. I mean, you're saying he's the best football player ever. There's a lot of arguments that could be made for other players that have played in the NFL. I think if you ask everybody to name their top 3 or 4 hockey players, Bobby Orr is going to meet everybody's list for anybody who's watched the game for a long time.
Yeah.
So as great as this is, I'm going to go with Cottrell on this one. I think it's a slight lean to Boston, but I'm going to give my 3 points to Boston.
I'm going to tell you something right now. There's one thing I'm absolutely sure of. We got it right. We got it right. These are the best 2 Mount Rushmores. We got it right.
You did?
In the comments, Brandon Pfister, Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco Treat. Godfrey says T.O. was better than Moss.
There's an argument that can be made there. I'll tell you this, and Cottrell's not going to like to hear this, but the T.O. and Moss are closer to each other than either one of them are to Jerry Rice.
I agree with that. I'll tell you right now, Jerry Rice never took a season off. Never. Randy Moss did. There was years where he was not good. Raiders.
No, I agree.
All right.
Jerry Rice is literally like he is the standard for a wide receiver. And I think that's part of the difference. If you want to compare who you are, how great you are to position, everybody compares you to Jerry Rice. I don't think anybody's saying that Randy Moss is the standard at wide receiver.
We will post the verses on the page. We will post the verses on the Twitter. We will add everything up. And we will post it, and we will give you your winner next week, the champion of the Mount Rushmore bracket, wire-to-wire style. We'll post it. We got next topic, gentlemen. Next topic. We got the World Cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Shally and Cottrell, I'll be your voice, right? You type what you want to say, and I'll be your voice. And Shally, you can talk about the greatest. Here's one thing I will say. I heard this the other day, and I think it's really legitimate. If that was the first soccer game you've ever watched, you should never watch soccer again because it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your introduction to soccer, then I would say you're probably a soccer fan now. But I really want to give Cottrell his flowers here, but this is probably going to be harder to do. So I'm probably going to start talking so he can type, because he did have France in the final and I didn't. So I do want to give him his flowers, and I'd like him to go first, but I don't think that's probably going to be doable. So I will start by saying this. I will echo what Gene just said. For my money, drama, skill level, excitement, the weight of the moment and what the game is, it's the best soccer match I've ever watched, and it's not particularly close. And I'm not a casual soccer fan. Anybody who knows me or knows we talk, I watch Premier League constantly. I will watch I'll watch the Bundesliga, I watch the Liga. I watch soccer. Obviously I watch the Union, I follow them. It is the best soccer match I've ever seen. The skill and the things you saw in that game from Messi and from Mbappe, and other players as well was incredible. To put that performance on in a World Cup final is otherworldly. I said this. I couldn't imagine being a fan, like being from France or being from Argentina and having that much rooting interest. I was on the edge of my seat and I was nervous And I'm not a fan of either one of those teams. Like if that was the US, I probably would have passed out. I would have thrown up. Like I can't imagine watching that game and having a rooted country interest in the outcome of that game. It was incredible. It had everything you wanted it, everything you could possibly want in a game, you got in that game. The best player showed up. It wasn't a game where, Argentina had a bunch of unsung heroes or France did. No, the two guys that everybody turned that TV on to watch both showed up and showed out. Argentina came out on penalty kicks. I am not an anti-PK guy. A lot of people are, and I've been, I've said it for a long time. It's part of the game. You're getting there if you get to the end. But if there was one game ever that I would change my mind for and say, let these guys go play another 15 minutes because I know somebody's going to score and let them settle it that way, it would have been this game because this game was that good. But that being said, Argentina got it done. You get the happy ending for Messi. He can ride off into the sunset. He got his World Cup. And I really don't know what to say without making it, not trying to undersell it at all. It was just an incredible soccer match.
From an extreme casual, not even a casual, from a non-fan, could this be compared to the Brady Mahomes Super Bowl with Mbappe being the best player in the world, Mahomes being the best quarterback in the world, Messi possibly being the greatest soccer player ever? Now he's on a lot of people's lists, the greatest soccer player ever, passing the torch to Mbappe, but winning that last game. Because you watched that game, right? And I'm going to read Kittrell's comments. He said, Mbappe, best player in the world, put the team on his back. Hat trick in the finals is nuts. But good for Messi. Argentina was better equipped for PKs. Now, I read that as this. Let me read it in my head. Mahomes, best player in the world, put the team on his back. The throws that he made from his legs to try to keep his team in the game were nuts. But good for Brady. Tampa Bay was better equipped to win the Super Bowl. Their defense was better equipped to slow down Mahomes. Like, that's how I read that as a casual.
I get what you're saying. I think it's a little off base because I think the PKs are such a unique thing to soccer. There's obviously nothing like it in football. And whereas if you're asking a person to start their team and, are you taking Argentina's goalkeeper or are you taking Hugo Lloris as just to be like your normal goalie, you're taking Lloris all day. Whereas Argentina's goalkeeper, one of the things he's just very good at is PKs. They were more equipped. He is way better at that specialized skill than Lloris was. It's PKs is almost like having like Justin Tucker versus somebody else with like 2 seconds to go and the ball like on the 40. Like if you have a goalie that's really good at it, it's like you having Justin Tucker back there being like, I'll just send him out there to kick a 58-yarder and we'll win the game and act like it's nobody's business. But to Cottrell's other point, Mbappe literally, for the first 74 minutes of that game, Argentina, for the most part, dominated the game. Like, I thought there might be a point where it gets out of control. And then out of nowhere, they get the penalty and Mbappe scores. 3 minutes later, he has a falling to his knees, just absolute batty half volley that he puts inside netting. And then he scored again after that. It was just, we talked about a little bit in the chat with what France was missing to still get there. And it required that type of effort from Mbappe to keep them in that game. That kid's 23 and he is without a shadow of a doubt the best player on the planet. Messi is firmly entrenched in that best player ever category. You can make arguments for him and maybe one or two other guys. But he's there. Mbappe's 23. It's really really wild to think where he could be in 10 years. It's just nutty.
Who's the GOAT of all soccer of all time?
It's listen, for me, I think both Messi and Ronaldo are better than Pele. I think the game has changed so much to where Pele was great. I just think he was so far ahead of everybody else that was playing soccer at that point. It made him look better. I want to say look better than he was, but he was just playing against people that just aren't on the same level. Like you look at club level soccer now and then take that step further to international football. Messi and Ronaldo have dominated on all levels against people that are dramatically better at soccer than anybody against Pele played against. For me, it's a 2-horse race. I think it's him. I think it's Messi or Ronaldo. And I don't think there's anybody else that you can make a striking argument to change my mind. It's one of those two for me.
Okay. So if I take it a step further, how many World Cup wins does Ronaldo have?
I don't think he has. I don't think Portugal's won. Did they win the World Cup that year? I know they won Euro a couple years ago.
Pretty sure he has none. I
don't think he has any.
So Cottrell says skills Messi, but Ronaldo better performer in my opinion.
And I think that's very fair to both of them.
Okay.
I think it's. I look at it this way. I think you look at like dribbling and things like that. I think Messi is a little bit of a better attacker than Ronaldo with certain things he does. If you give me overall soccer player, it's hard for me not to take Ronaldo. They're both incredible at free kicks, PKs, anything like that. Ronaldo, I think, is more dangerous because he can score with his head. I think Messi's a little bit better on the ball, kind of coming at you attacker than Ronaldo is. So again, dude, you're talking like 1 and 1 like AAA. I don't get mad at people that pick Messi, and I don't get mad at people that pick Ronaldo. If I had to pick, I would take Ronaldo. I think Messi's played with better people his whole life. I think Ronaldo's overachieved on the international level a little bit with playing with Portugal. Just my opinion.
All righty. Early, and we always do this, but this doesn't make any sense for World Cup, but I'm going to ask it anyway. 2026, early favorite. Who would it be for you?
I'll give you 2 bold predictions. Actually, I won't give you a prediction. I'll give you my final 4 for 2026 right now. It will be France. Because I don't know if you get Benzema back, but I mean, Pogba and guys like that are going to be back. Plus, you saw the young guys that came on at the end of that game that helped them get back into the game. They're all 20 years old. That team is going to be loaded. And you're still going to have the best number 10 in the world at the central forward position. I will go France. I will go Spain. That team is extremely young this year. They played well. They just ran into a buzzsaw. But that team will be a lot better in 2026. I will go with Germany because that team is a weird mix right now, but they lean on the younger side. They will rebound. And your 4th Final Four team in 2026 will be the United States.
Cottrell is the same 4. He brought U.S., France, Germany, and Spain. And I will tell you this, and I'm going to be the bah humbug of the group, and I don't know. There's no chance the United States makes a jump like that. It's very wishful thinking from a group of soccer. Okay.
Well, listen. This isn't me busting your balls. You're arguing with 2 guys that follow it all year long on the international level. U.S. is ranked 13th in the world, so you're not making the jump that you think that they're making. They were the youngest team in the World Cup. They were the 3rd youngest World Cup team ever. They have a lot of guys that were 20, 21, 22 that are going to be in their primes in 4 years, that are going to be better, that are going to go continue to play ball overseas in all the major European leagues. That team is going to be very, very, very good in 2026.
I would love to see it. I think the United States men need to make a huge jump to really just engage more people into the sport of soccer. But that's all we got for the World Cup, right? Cottrell says this team is going to make the similar jump the Warriors did compared to 2013 to 2016 Warriors. Won't be that dominant, but the growth. Okay.
Listen, you're going to have grass ping pong down at the link, bro, so we're going.
I'll go see grass ping pong. That's what it is, though. It's grass ping pong. Back and forth.
I think once you watch it in person on that level, like the international level, like the best that there is, not saying that you'll like it. I think you'll have a better understanding of how fast it is, and I think you'll respect it a little bit more. That's what I'll say.
Well, Cottrell has the leaderboard set for our Bowl Mania. He's got the leaderboard set up for us because he's awesome. I got to shout out a few people. I'm guessing Gator don't play no shit. I'm guessing Brandon.
I'll say Brandon's going to jump back in here any second now.
So Brandon with the early lead and Key in the building. Key 9-3 record also. And I don't know who the Wise is. I think that is. I don't know. I know okay I'm in. I think that's I'm pretty sure okay I'm in is betting and heels.
There he is.
But out of the group that we have, the NFL genius might need to change his name. And you know what the funny thing is? I should be 9-3 and I changed my damn pick. I had Eastern Michigan and I switched it. I don't know why I switched it.
Same, brother. Same.
I shouldn't. But I'm 8-4. The Ann Arbor Bullies, if you scroll down to number 10, 7-5. And Ohio State Redeem Team 2022, 5-7.
Ooh.
God damn, that seemed like your season, Control. I'm sorry. I love
who you. Who is Shally should be my caddy?
We need to know. We need to know.
I need to know who that is because that name made me LOL.
Shally should be my caddy. The GOAT, which is normally Petey, who swears he's going to win everything, is 6-6. I know Hackney was here somewhere.
That's definitely not Hackney, though.
No, he's definitely near the bottom. I guarantee if we scroll down, we'll probably find Hack. He probably gave up.
Brandon's not lying either. I literally turned around in our office and yelled at him. I was like, you need to fill this out. And he legit logged on and picked teams in 2 minutes. So the fact that he's up there is crazy to me, but he's not lying.
Was there any bowl game that stood out to you?
Because
CJ said it right? The bowl season's kind of right now is overrated.
It hasn't been great. I'm trying to think everybody who's played so
I watched it. A guy I follow. I didn't watch the game. But
I've watched
UTSA and Troy, they said I've never said a game was fixed before. I have no money on this game, but this game was fixed.
Now, I'm not saying the game is fixed. I will tell you this. I've watched UTSA play twice this year, not for a full game. I've probably watched a little over a quarter, and then I watched a half of another game. The team that I watched play was not the team that was on the TV in the bowl game. So that guy is probably a guy that is either a big UTSA fan or probably bet them a lot this year and knows who they are and what they're about. That was not a good performance, though. It was completely out of character from what I saw. I'll be honest, dude, probably the best game so far was the North Carolina Central and Jackson State game, if we're being honest. That game should have went to overtime. That the tight end dropped the tying touchdown pass in the end zone with 2 seconds to go. That's probably been the most compelling game when you factor in everything else that was going on with Dion and everything else.
Before next week, we have a couple games that could be good, but I will tell you one that I'm 100% sure of.
Oh,
East Carolina is going to kick the dog shit out of Coastal Carolina. With all the opt-outs, all the people that aren't playing, East Carolina is going to destroy them. That game, I'm not kidding when I tell you this. That'll be the most lopsided game of the entire bowl. East Carolina will beat them by 40. Just telling you.
No, I mean you're probably not wrong. I mean, listen, the big one there is Coastal Carolina's starting cornerback, who is being coveted by a lot of big programs, is transferring. He is not going to play in that game.
Correct. They lost their last two games 47-7, 45-26. I think that what they're doing right now, Grayson McCall, is the transfer. But I think what they're doing right now is they're looking at Coastal's record and what they've played this year. And you look at that spread, it's 9.5. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you right now, East Carolina beats them by 100.
You know what made this a lot easier, Gene?
Tell me.
In the past, when kids didn't opt out of bowl games.
That's not a good okay thing anymore? I forgot. Last year I argued that.
I mean, I was not opposed to you on that side of the argument. I think Louisiana-Houston has a chance to be a really entertaining game. I don't know if it's going to be the best football you're ever going to watch, but I think it has a chance to be back and forth football. So it'll at least be fun to watch. It'll probably be high scoring.
I don't know, man. I think a lot of these games this week look just as crappy as they did last week, just bigger names. Baylor, Air Force, I don't know, no care. Wake Forest, Missouri, yuck.
That will probably be a good game though.
I don't see any.
If DJ tucks his tail and goes to Hawaii, man, where he can throw the ball 55 times and just put up numbers, that is sad, dude.
So Cottrell posted, just so the listeners can hear this because they're not seeing what his comment is.
Yeah.
DJ Ukulele is rumored to be going to Hawaii. Graham Mertz to Florida, which is absurd. I don't understand. I guess they don't know. They don't know what bad quarterbacking is. I watch bad quarterback. It's like Graham Mertz is like a poor man's Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy looks great.
How is he a 5-star kid coming out of high school? Like I don't get it. Like I remember the biggest hubbub there was when Wisconsin signed him.
Brandon's comments too funny.
Say that, and he 100% freaking is, dude. That's the problem. He's 100% logging in right now. He'll probably text me because he won't be able to find it, but he'll text me how to log in, and he's going to switch it. How Graham Mertz was a 5-star kid coming out of high school is beyond me. I remember all the hubbub coming out about him, and Wisconsin got him. I was like, how the hell did Wisconsin get a 5-star QB? That dude has done nothing but lost every big game he's ever played in and looked terrible doing it. And now he's going to go to transfer to Florida and start down there. Like, that's wild to me. Devin Leary to Kentucky, though, that is a sneaky good pickup for them. It really is. That team was, I mean, we're all over the board with Will Levis, but that team was young. I mean, that team should be good next year. If they can keep Devin Leary healthy, that's a very good pickup for Kentucky.
I'm not sure we're all over the board with him. I just think that, and I said this, he is just tremendous arm talent.
Correct.
And I think that people are falling in love with the arm talent and not watching the football games. And I think that a lot of pro days and a lot of scouts, they look like, oh my God, look at this arm. And they just fall over the arm. And they see Justin Herbert and Josh Allen, because that's the type of arm Will Levis has.
Those guys were both so much more polished than him. Even as
Josh Allen wasn't polished. Josh Allen was a Wyoming quarterback that stunk.
He didn't stink, dude. Josh Allen was hard to evaluate because of who he was playing with and who he was playing against. And then again, you got to the NFL and it was, okay, this is going to be a little bit more of a project than we thought it was going to be, which is what I think he is. I think he has the capability to be a solid starter in the NFL. I don't think he's elite. I think he's got great arm talent, but I think whoever takes him is going to come to the realization very quickly that he is not going to be a guy you could take in the top 5 that's going to start week 1 for you next year. I don't think he's that guy. I think that's his.
And if I took it a step further, I think the situation really dictates his situation.
Yeah.
So I think whatever situation he gets drafted into, he needs a quarterback-friendly system, quarterback-friendly coach that's going to allow him to develop and allow him to show him how to use that arm talent. Because I
Not
see
get
the
killed.
talent's there. The talent's there.
It is.
It's just
He has every physical tool you need. It's going to be, getting him not to take chances and not think he can throw the ball through people. Because in the NFL, you can't do that. You'll just throw interceptions left and right. Who you
I'm
got
not sure
tonight?
how much we talked about this last week, but I kind of wanted to bring it up now. I am so thankful to hear that Bryce Young and Will Anderson will both be playing in that bowl game.
Told you.
I'm thankful because if I'm being honest with you, man, I didn't expect it. Bryce Young to me is the best quarterback in the country.
Agreed.
I don't think it's close. I've said that before. I'll say it again. I think that Bryce Young, watching him play is going to be fun. I think you're looking at a future Houston Texan. I think the Houston Texans will take him number 1 overall, and he'll be the part of their rebuild.
This is not a franchise I'd want to go to right now.
Listen, they have to. Would you say this? You said the same thing about Jacksonville, though, right? You wouldn't want to go to Jacksonville 2 years ago. Urban Meyer, no superstars on that team, no good players. That team stunk, right? You said the same thing about Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence going there, and right now, they're pushing the brink of being a playoff team. A 40-34 win over Dallas, like that team is playing good football. And Trevor Lawrence did it against a really good defense this past week.
The only thing I would say about Jacksonville is that Jacksonville had I compare the Houston situation. I would compare Bryce Young walking in to Houston more similar to what Justin Fields did going into Chicago than I would what Trevor Lawrence went into Jacksonville. I think Houston's a dumpster fire right now.
I think Houston had a very good draft this year.
Yeah,
Damian Pierce, Derek Stingley Jr. I think they did a good job. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I agree with Control.
You got to say it out loud. The people don't.
No. He said Houston is just hell all around, and I agree. I think also with the other stuff you have coming, that team's going to get investigated because of all the Deshaun Watson stuff. I just wouldn't want to go there if I was a quarterback. That's all I'm saying.
I get it. But someone's got to go there, and they're going to have the first pick.
Yeah,
and it's going to be Bryce Young. And if it's not Bryce Young, it just shows you how much of a dumpster fire that organization is. I don't think Lovey was a bad hire. I think he was hired for the culture. I understand. I think that they knew they were going to lose this year.
I agree with you on that.
Charles said Lovey a bad hire, no weapons, run everybody out of town. Yuck. I don't think Lovey's a bad coach.
I don't either. I actually think Lovey's the guy that if you can get that, I think honestly, I think it's similar to the Dan Campbell thing. I think if you can give him, if you go get him a quarterback like Bryce Love and get him some weapons and let Lovey continue to coach defense, and you give him the full 3 years like they gave Dan Campbell, then I think you have a shot. You just can't have Lovey being the placeholder guy, changing the culture, go draft all these kids that they have last year and what they're going to draft this year, and then give up on Lovey and try to bring in some big name fancy guy. That's what you can't do.
Got to give Houston credit, man. They played Kansas City to overtime. They've been playing they've been playing hard-nosed football. They don't look like a 1-11-1 team. I get it. They're bad. But you got to give them credit. They're playing hard for their coach. And, they haven't quit on them. They're playing for the guys in the locker room. I give them credit. I really will. But we're talking about bowl games, and we're getting a little bit off track. And I guess we'll talk about this more next week because there's really none this week. But I think by next week, you'll see Brandon falling out of first base because he doesn't know what he's picking. I'm just kidding, Brandon. But I'll just widen my lead over Cottrell and Chally. And I'm already behind by what was it, 5 points to Cottrell? Or 3 points, whatever we said we were starting at. I'm already behind, but I will catch up. Cottrell is opening the door for us.
That's how it started for me last year, and I closed well and ended up winning. So
it is. You did close very well. All right, gentlemen. Anything else? College football?
No, man. I mean, we're still chomping the bit. We got, next week we'll be able to talk about, we'll finally be able to break down the playoff games. So that'll be fun.
Petey's spitting facts. No one can walk in a worse situation than the Urban Meyer experience. He said he has the number one pick in his dynasty league, and he's going with Bryce Young, and he's going to try to get Bijan with his second pick.
I think Bijan has the ability to be a superstar. I really do.
I don't.
I think as long as he goes to a run-heavy team, I think by run-heavy I mean not a like CMAC type offense where they want to throw him the ball 20 times a game. He's got all the physical tools, man. I think he has the ability to be good.
Let's move on to MLB. We have Carlos Correa. Listen, 3:41 in the morning.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa signs another huge deal with the Metropolitans. I have something for you real quick. I brought this up, and I kind of want to start here. So I sent this to Adrian. I seen it on Twitter. Carlos Correa, $315 million. Brandon Nimmo, $162 million. Edwin Diaz, $102 million. Justin Verlander, $86.6 million. Cody Senga, $75 million. Jose Quintana, $26 million. Omar Narvaez, $15 million. Adam Ottavino, $14.5 million. David Robinson, $10 million. Total outlay of $806 million this offseason. The Mets want to win.
I mean, if anybody's ever trying to buy a title, it's the Mets and Steve Cohen. They are going their total with their tax bill, with their luxury tax bill this year is going to be close to $500 million. No team up until this point will have ever been closer than $150 million of what they're going to pay to play baseball this year. They have a $600 million left side of their infield. Carlos Correa is going to play third base. Frankie's going to stay short. He's paying $111 million in luxury tax this year, which will be, I believe, it's either 16 or 18 teams total payroll will be less than what he's paying in the luxury tax this year. Listen, if you're a fan of the Mets, you have to be excited. You have to be excited that you have an owner that's literally writing blank checks every year. Will it pay off? I guess we'll see. I mean, if not, I mean, he's literally lighting money on fire. So, sucks for the Giants. I'm really curious to see when it comes out what they found in the physical that they didn't like. Did they put the deal on pause, and then New York just swooped in and said we don't care and signed him to the deal. So, I'm curious to see what that's going to be. But, listen. I mean, if he was our owner, we would love him. So, I mean, I can't bash it. I mean, it is what it is. He's trying to buy a World Series, but I mean, if you're an owner, I mean, isn't that what you're trying to do? So I don't know. Can't really hate it.
P said all that money for third place.
He might. I mean, it's they still have a lot of really big names. They still have, they still have holes in that team. So I mean, I think you're just at this point, I think you're saying that the stars are going to play so well, it's just going to overshadow some of it. So,
are the Cubs a team to look at in the future? They signed Dansby Swanson to a $177 million deal. They also signed Cody Bellinger this offseason. I know Cody didn't have the greatest. Listen, Cody Bellinger is only 6 years into the league, and yeah, he didn't look great last year. Understood, but
the problem with Cody is Cody has to change something. Like this wasn't Cody had 5 great years and then just had like a one-off like weird bad year. He's been trending down now for 3 straight years and it's still going down. So I think that's the concern. They signed Cody to a 1-year deal, hoping he figures it out, and they get 2018 Cody Bellinger for $17 million a year, and then it's the steal of a lifetime. He's got a prove it deal, because if he goes bats 200 again this year, I don't know where he's going next year.
Yeah,
I think Dansby listen, I've been watching Dansby play since he went to Vanderbilt, man. Kid's good. He finally had his breakout year this year. He's always been a great defender, but he kind of started putting together the plate. He's not a bad guy to build around, but he's not. I mean, he's not a power guy. I mean, he's a 20 home run guy a year. Hit high 200s, low 300s. Great guy to bat in like a 2-hole and give you great defense for the next 10 years. So I mean, it's not, Cubs have a lot of younger kids coming up. They've that whole old guard that won the World Series. I mean, they're all gone now. I don't think anybody's left. So it's rebuild. So it's a good first piece. And I would tell you the difference between Dansby and Carlos Correa is sure as hell not $130 million. So, I mean, they got the better value there, in my opinion.
100%. I agree with that 100%.
If you're asking me that. So, I'm a big Carlos Correa guy, though. I like him. So, I mean, but it's $315. It's one of those things. If you're offering me Dansby or Carlos and I get one of them for $150 cheaper, I will take Dansby Swanson all day.
Giants executive for just 4 hours spoke up about the Carlos Correa deal falling through. He said a medical issue was detected in Correa's physical. I know you mentioned that, but the Mets just don't. You know what I mean? The Mets just don't care. Whatever.
No, and that's correct. And his MO was just going to be, I don't care what it is. If it's nothing major, we're going to go sign him, and I want the splash, and I want to add another superstar to the team. And I mean, listen, you got to realize too, though, from his point of view, if you led the division pretty much all year till September, fall apart in September a little bit, and they get swept out of the playoffs, and then sit there and watch the Phillies go on that run, it's got to drive you mad,
100%.
Tell you what, man, NL East is going to be, we said it this year, it's going to be worse next year. So
I mean, there's only 3 teams though. The Marlins and the Nationals stink.
The Nationals are really going to stink. The Marlins, I still don't think push for a playoff team, but they will be better next year.
Okay.
Like they will win more games next year. Like they will steal games from the top 3 more next year.
Any final comments on MLB?
No, I mean, I think that's it. I don't think there's any really big names left out there. I think all the guys that we were waiting on have all signed, and we're under 100 days to baseball already, though, which is crazy. It's a quick turnaround when your team makes the World Series. So, it's we'll be talking about baseball and back on the softball field before you know it.
Pro Bowl 2023. The complete rosters were just revealed 36 minutes ago. So I figured we would just talk about that for a minute.
I'll say you just want to rip through them. Let's do it.
Yeah. So we'll go AFC first. And right. I want you to tell me if there's anything notable to you on here.
I'm assuming this is just the starters.
No. Full roster.
Oh, full. Oh, all right. All right, cool. Let's go.
Quarterbacks for the AFC: Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow.
Perfect.
Okay. Tua left off the list.
Tua shouldn't be on the list.
I mean, statistically, he's having a better year than Josh Allen, but I agree he's not better than Josh Allen. That's fair. Running backs: Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry. Okay, they're both there, but Josh Jacobs, the third running back, he's had a great year.
Deservedly so. So I mean, who are we saying there's a snub then, though?
Oh, I don't think there is a snub. I think that's the 3.
No, and again, I guess, are you arguing Eckler maybe?
No, not this year.
No, yeah. So I mean, I mean, and Josh Jacobs deserves it this year. He's had a crazy.
If Eckler makes it, he makes it over Derrick Henry. I think that Chubb and Josh Jacobs are the 2 that should make.
I can agree. I can agree with that.
All right, so wide receivers, I think this is pretty easy too. Reek, Cheetah, Diggs, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase. I think the snub on that list is Jalen Waddle.
Absolutely.
But who does he make it over? All four of those guys had great years.
See, I don't want to hold Chase's injury against him, but that being said, I mean, it's always a weird argument. Like, you don't want to be like, oh, well, if he was healthy, he did it. He would have done this.
You would say Waddle over Chase.
But at this point, like
statistically,
Waddle
he is better.
Yeah, at this point, like Waddle did stay healthy and he's having a better year. I think Chase is better, but I think Waddle is I think Waddle's a shitty snub. I think Waddle should be a Pro Bowler this year.
I won't bore everybody with the offensive line. Kelsey and Andrews are the tight ends.
That's clear as day as well.
Kicker, defensive side: Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson, to D end.
Ooh.
Interior, you got Chris Jones, Quinn Williams, and Jeffrey Simmons from Tennessee, who definitely deserves it. He's been playing his ass off. Outside linebacker, Matthew Judon, Khalil Mack, and this is kind of absurd because of the name, but TJ Watt made it. Missed like 6
come
games.
On, man. Yeah, come on. Yeah, I'm not okay with, and I've argued TJ Watt numerous times in other discussions on this show. TJ Watt's not a Pro Bowler this year. Sorry.
No, I missed 6 games. Roquan Smith made it for the Ravens.
Okay.
CJ Mosley. Cornerbacks, number 1 corner.
Gotta be.
Sauce Gardner. Listen. The Sauce Gardner preseason hate from some people has been silenced with a capital S.
Not a good look.
Just saying. Sauce Gardner, Patrick Surtain, who most people that watch football have said Patrick Surtain is the next one. Marlon Humphrey, which I completely disagree with. I think is super overrated.
He's not having a Marlon Humphrey type year.
And then Xavier Howard. Minka is your free safety. Derwin James is your strong safety. And the backup safety is Jordan Poyer, who missed half the season. I think it's a lot of name
if he's Poyer's played well. I mean, as long as he's not a starter, I have less issue with it if he would have named a starter after missing half the year. Who are the specialists?
Justin Tucker,
my man,
Tommy Townsend, Devin Duvernay is the return specialist.
Okay, all right. So nothing like. I mean, wide receiver is just always tough, man, because there's so many good ones. But I mean, I feel like Waddle's probably like the biggest snub.
I got to go to NFC now. I just found an AFC list. I'm looking for the NFC list now. The Eagles apparently had a ton. So
they should.
I'm looking for the NFC list. This happened this was announced as we were doing the show. So I'm looking for the NFC list right now. Vikings had 5 players. Eagles had 8 players named to the Pro Bowl. 8 players from the Eagles.
I'm looking at the graphic.
Skipped. Tua Tagovailoa skipped despite leading fan vote. All right, so let's see. NBC Sports might have the NFC. I got the Eagles right here. Let me just do the Eagles for a minute. Okay. A.J. Brown, Landon Dickerson. How about that? Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Son Reddick.
Ooh, all right. Good for him.
Miles Sanders. That man earned himself some money.
He did. It's gonna screw us, but he did.
And Darius Slay.
No Bradbury.
Not listed.
Wow. I mean, you could argue Bradbury,
by the way.
You could, money wise, you're damn right it is. I mean, it helps us. I mean, it's good for us, but I mean, you could argue Bradbury's having a better year than Slay.
I got the NFC roster. Here it is.
All right, let's go.
Starting quarterback.
Should be Jalen Hurts. Yep.
Wait do you hear the next 2 though?
Oh, I mean, that already means there's one that I don't like. Go ahead.
I don't. Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you guess the next 2?
I love that I can't see this. Oh man, Kirk Cousins isn't on there, is he?
Kirk Cousins is number 3.
Jesus Christ.
When you hear the number 2 running back, you're going to run through a wall.
I was going to say, I mean, I wouldn't have had a problem if they put Fields on there, but it's obviously not him.
Kyle Edwards said Jared Goff. No, not Jared Goff.
I would have been okay with Jared Goff too, if I'm being honest.
It's Geno Smith. They wrote me off. I didn't write back.
It's kind of crazy, man. Just look
at the NFC quarterbacks versus the AFC quarterbacks. Hurts, Geno, Kirk, or Mahomes, Allen, Burrow.
Oh my. I mean, listen, we have this conversation about Kirk every year. Like he puts up, like, if you look at his raw numbers, you think he's different than what he is. So like, I get the Cousins thing. I mean, the way Geno Smith played the last month, man, like I don't know how you name that guy. I don't know how you name that guy a Pro Bowler.
Wait do you hear, bro? I might give you 10 guesses. I don't think you'll get. All right, so Saquon is the leading running back. Miles Sanders was 3. I think I can give you 10 guesses, and I don't think you would get the number 2 running back in the NFC. 10 guesses.
And it's not C-Mac?
Nope, C-Mac didn't make it. 10 guesses.
10.
We have 9 now.
Oh. Not Pollard?
It's Pollard.
Attaboy.
Pollard is the number 2 running back, and he's the number 2 running back on his own team.
He's really not, though.
I agree with you. I've said that for 2 years now.
But I mean, it's really come to fruition. Like, he out-touches him every game now.
All right. Fullback Kyle Juszczyk. Wide receivers. Jettas is 1. Easy.
Gotta be.
AJ Brown is 2. Starter.
Should be.
CeeDee Lamb 3. Terry McLaurin 4.
I'm okay with CD. I'm trying to think if Terry would have gotten in over anybody that maybe you shouldn't have.
I mean, if Amon-Ra didn't get hurt, I would take Amon-Ra. But
yeah. I'm trying to think of anybody that like just screams.
No, Cooper got hurt.
Yeah, Cooper's hurt.
It's really nobody else. Nuke was out for 6 games. Hollywood was out for 6 games. Debo was hurt. Like there's nobody else.
Yeah, I mean Lockett and DK aren't going crazy. And then Evans and Godwin are both having whatever. So yeah, I mean it's probably right then.
Kittle and Hawkinson are your tight ends. Hawkinson's a joke. Absolute joke. Dalvin Cook's a better running back than Miles, but Miles Sanders had a better season so far, Brandon. It's not about about who's better.
Nobody's saying Miles Sanders is a better running back than Dalvin Cook, but he's having a better year than Dalvin Cook.
Lane is starting to tackle as well as Trent Williams. So Trent's starting to left tackle, Lane at right. Tristan Wirfs is the backup. Zach Martin and Landon Dickerson are both starting.
How does Tristan Wirfs make it? He's missed like a gazillion games too.
Jason Kelsey started. You got 3 Eagles starting. Well, they won't play.
There's no playing. No, I mean, unless we're knocked out. But yeah,
there's no playing. There's no game this year. It's like a skills competition. This is just the list of the starters. Nick Bosa, Brian Burns, and DeMarcus Lawrence at the end.
Okay.
Nick Bosa's the backup for Defensive Player of the Year, no doubt about it. Aaron Donald, Jonathan Allen, Dexter Lawrence at interior. Aaron Donald is name recognition only. He's missed like the last 3 games. Their team stinks. I understand it. Outside linebacker, I was wondering where they'd put him. Micah Parsons, he's number 1. Zadarius Smith 2, Hassan Reddick 3.
Good for Hassan Reddick, dude.
Hassan Reddick's been dominating, bro.
Yes, that's the thing. Good for him.
Yeah, flag football, Kyle.
I was going to ask you that when you were done the list. Like they were, I swear they said they were still playing like flag football or something.
Fred Warner and Demario Davis are your inside linebackers. Demario Davis is just quietly always in this conversation.
Dude's a stud.
So I love. All right.
So here's my thing.
Cornerbacks. I got to get in the cornerbacks, bro.
Yeah, I think Slay should be starting. I just don't know how Bradbury's not the other one. Like, who is the other starting corner?
Trayvon Diggs.
Oh, stop.
But Trayvon Diggs. All right, so hold on. Trayvon Diggs has had a very, 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 very good season. Much better than last year. It's nothing like it was last year. His numbers are, as a whole, have gotten better. Trevon Diggs has played great this year. Let me just be clear. I don't have a problem with that. Here's why I have a problem. Tariq Woolen's on the list, rookie cornerback. I understand that he has the most interceptions in the league for Seattle. It's the rite of passage that the best corner in the league gets, with Jair Alexander being on this list, when he hasn't played half the year, man.
And he
Jair's
wasn't good
great.
and he wasn't good when he played.
I think Bradbury should be on it over Jair, and I think Jair's the best corner in football. Quadre Diggs is your starting free safety. Your strong safeties are Buda Baker and Hufanga. Hufanga should be starting over Buda. And no AJ Terrell. Yeah, no AJ Terrell.
I don't have a problem with Diggs being on the team, Cottrell. I'm just saying he shouldn't be starting over Bradbury.
I think, if I'm being honest, I shouldn't be dishonest, but if I'm being honest, I think Trevon Diggs is having the second best corner season in the NFL, not just the NFC. Just being honest. The specialist, Jason Myers from Seattle, Tress Way, who always seems to make it, absolute great punter. Turpin from Dallas is your return specialist, and your gunner is Jeremy Reeves.
Jason Myers, good for him.
He was so excited about hearing the kicker. Let's get into You Got to Be Kidding Me.
I love my kickers, bro. I love them.
I love it. All right, so I'm gonna help Cottrell, because Cottrell. So Bill, do yours, and then I'll do two.
All right, I'm gonna go with Willie McGinnis. If you're not familiar, expatriate, was in an LA club about 2 weeks ago. The details are still a little few and far between, but TMZ, of course, and their money grubbing ways, got a hold of the surveillance video, of course, and it came out 2 days ago, and it is not good for Willie McGinnis. He's been charged with felony aggravated assault. He's already been suspended by the NFL Network. He's most likely going to get fired. And if you watch the video, if you pull it up, you can Google it. He walks up to a guy's table. They obviously had some kind of beef earlier in the night, because as soon as the guy sees him, he tries to stand up, just to start talking to him. And he doesn't even get halfway out of his seat. And Willie McGinnis just hits him with a left hook right in the face. What makes this worse, though, is Willie McGinnis has his entourage with him. They got a guy holding him from behind. This little guy just wailing away on him. They messed the guy up pretty good. Again, I guess maybe when the details come out of what it's about, maybe I'll change my mind, but I doubt it. You're a retired football player. You don't have, Willie McGinnis is not a super household name by any means. You're making good money being an analyst for the NFL Network. You're going to lose that job. You're going to be unemployable for what? Because a guy bumped into you at a club, maybe, or maybe said something to your girl. Who knows what the hell it is? Who cares? There's just no reason for it. It's dumb. It's stupid. It just costs you your livelihood. You don't have a million different ways to make money. And Willie McGinnis was, one of those guys that's a great patriot. He's not a Hall of Fame player. It's just stupid, man. I don't get it. I don't get these guys just wanting to fight people and sucker punch people for over something dumb, which I'm sure it's going to be. So this week for me, Willie McGinnis, you got to be kidding me. You just threw away your career most likely. Just dumb, bro. Dumb.
Come on, you got to be kidding me.
All right, so I'm going to start with Amari Stoudemire, and I'm going to do that one first for Cottrell, and then I'll do the combination for me. So Amari Stoudemire, if you haven't heard, has been arrested in Miami-Dade County, and it was later released on a $1,500 bond with a no contact order for misdemeanor battery after he allegedly hit one of his teenage daughters in the face. Because they're both minors, we don't know if it's the 17-year-old or the 14-year-old. Stoudemire allegedly confronted the girl and accused her of being disrespectful to his mother during a phone call. According to the police report, when she denied it, he told her, "You're talking back again," and punched her in the jaw, leaving her bleeding, the report says. Stoudemire then invoked his Fifth Amendment rights to not incriminate himself, and not 100% sure all the details, so I will not go any further. But you can't lay your hands on a 17 or 14-year-old girl, whether it's your daughter or anybody's daughter or anybody. So for the first, you got to be kidding me, it's Amari Stoudemire.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Second one's a little bit more comedy. I was between both, so I'm going to use both. I'll start with the Indianapolis Colts. I told you when Jeff Saturday got hired, he was unqualified to be an NFL head coach. NFL head coach isn't just about preparation. It's not about getting your team ready. It's not just about inspiration. It's not about getting your team wanting to play hard for you. It's about making adjustments. And the least amount of adjustments you could possibly make in a game was made in that game Saturday. 33-0 lead at halftime. The defense was playing great. Turnovers. And I'm telling you right now, the Indianapolis Colts completely fell apart, blowing a 33-point lead, the largest lead in the history of the NFL. And the Patriots said, hold my beer. In a 24-24 game, which, by the way, I will argue that I really don't believe the Raiders' touchdown should have counted. I think everyone sees his foot was on the line, but regardless, 24-24 game. We got just 7-8 seconds left on the clock. They decide to run a running play to Ramondre Stevenson, who runs the ball and he breaks it for 25 yards. Ramondre Stevenson then pitches it back to Jacoby Myers, which is right next to him. I don't agree with the move. I think it's a very dumb move. However, it didn't cost him the game. Jacoby Myers, who was quote unquote saying was trying to make a play, threw the ball 15 to 20 yards across the field backwards to obviously the best athlete on the team, Mac Jones. Well, the reason he's not the quarterback is because the throw was about 10 yards shy, and it was intercepted, picked off in that situation by Chandler Jones, who then in turn decided to step over Mac Jones like he was a 14-year-old child, and it was not even, literally walked over his dead corpse body to win the football game and run in for the touchdown. Jacoby Myers, you have to understand the circumstances of that game. You probably cost your team a playoff spot there. And for that reason, both the Colts and the New England Patriots.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Bill Brancato, Mac Jones got stiff armed through the ground, NFL street style.
He did.
I love it.
He really did.
Guys, I wanted to give a little bit of a Christmas finish to the show, and I kind of wanted to, guys, weird, cheesy. We have these moments out of 115 shows. We probably had about 8, 9, 10, maybe 12. Christmas is a special time. Spend it with your family. Be around your family. The cool thing is I get to work with my family every Wednesday night on this show with Bill and Cottrell. They've become my podcast family. The growth that we've made over November, December. And I'll tell you what, they say it never comes to you until you start doing everything yourself. And as a show, we've been doing everything ourselves, from getting the logos created, from running the board. We used to have it done at Toxic Radio, and then we got a little bit of help from somebody else. But I will say this, it has never ran smoother than it has with Cottrell Simpson running the board. We getting the graphics done early, and the camaraderie that we have as a group is incredible. So we had our greatest month we ever had as far as downloads in the month of November. December, we're not pacing November numbers yet, but we're pacing to be like the third best month ever, beating the whole entire rest of the year. I appreciate all the listeners out there. I hope that you spend as much time as possible with your family. For 33 years, I had no idea what it meant to have, why anybody could be upset on Christmas ever, because it's Christmas. And then I found out rudely 3.5 years ago. And to anybody that's having a tough Christmas this year, to anybody that's dealing with things that they're gonna have a lonely Christmas or anything, please give me a call. I will come over. I'll spend time with you. I don't mind whatever that situation is, because I know what that feels like. I know where we've been. To my Aunt Lori and my Aunt Joy and my Uncle Gary, this will be their first Christmas without their mother. I'll be there for you each step of the way, and I love you guys very much. So I appreciate Bill, Cottrell, the entire family, all the listeners out there, and I will pass it over to my man, Scholastic Shally.
Do some sentimental Shally corner here to finish up here. But I want to echo some of the things that Gene said. Gene's been my friend for a lot longer than we started doing this show. So my relationship with him, as many people know, like it hasn't, I didn't just meet Gene out of nowhere. So Gene's been my friend a lot longer than the show, but like he said, it's part of a family now. We got this crazy little thing going. We threw Cottrell in it. That gave us Tiny and Audia and, everybody out in the Ohio area. So we love all you guys as well. We wish you guys all have a great trip. And again, it's, I am too finally familiar, apparently, unfortunately, like Gene is, of Christmas, not being, what it was when you were younger. I'll be on my 15th without my father this year. It's a little different for me, kind of a little further along in the circle of life than Gene is, but, kind of getting to live it through my nephew JD now is kind of, turn Christmas back around for me in a positive way. It's kind of a day that I dreaded every year for a while, but not so much anymore. Watching him, start to grow up and enjoy it is something special. So to everybody out there that listens, honestly, Merry Christmas. Brandon, Brandon's a fan of the show, and I work with him, and he's become a great friend quickly. Billy Brancato, Michael Robert Lafferty, Petey. I'm missing people. All the guys that have literally watched this show from day one. We're 115 in, and like Gene said, we're just getting better. We're getting stronger. We're building. We're getting bigger. We're getting there. I mean, it's nuts, man. I mean, it's hard for me to put into words, the feeling of when you're actually part of it, like me, Gene, and Cottrell are, and you start with this little thing, and it's so organic and it's fun, and now we're 115 shows in, and it's getting bigger and it's getting better. It's really hard to put that feeling into words and to relay that to all you guys, but I promise you we're thankful as hell. We really are. So to Gene, his family, Mama Walzak, Tiny, Audia, my family, Travis, Katie, JD, all my friends, Merry Christmas. To all our haters, Merry Christmas. I hope you have a great day anyway. I don't care. We're still here. We're still smiling. We're still growing. So
I just wanted
Twitter.
to give one quick comment for Cottrell. When I can see y'all both in the photo right now. I know you guys aren't the camera's turned off, but I want to say something to you guys real quick. They got married in April, and I drove to Ohio to be at that wedding, and I will tell you something right now. I felt like family walking in there. People walked over, gave me a hug, said hi to me, treated me like I was one of their own, never met me before in person. Cottrell is family. Your entire family's family. Tiny, I love you. Audia, you're awesome. You're amazing. You're everything that Cottrell needs. So I love that you two are together. So I just want to make sure you guys got a shout out, because I'm sure Cottrell would have given it if his internet was 100% where it needed to be at. So I want to take the time and wish you guys a happy Merry Christmas and thank you for everything you guys do. Any other comments, boys?
No, man. I mean, it's I'll probably remember something else I wanted to say, but just it's to everybody. I'm trying to think people like CJ. I missed. CJ's been a
There's a million people we're gonna miss, bro.
There's
Audia.
Can't not mention Liz. Liz is behind the scenes, does a million things for me that I can't thank her enough for. So
I had the pleasure to meet her the other day.
You did.
Yeah, she's awesome people, man. Very awesome people.
Yeah, so it's as much hard work as we put into it, it's like anything else, man. The people that are behind, the people you see every week are what makes this easier and what makes it better sometimes. So appreciate it for all you guys. I love both of you to death. Love what we have. Go enjoy your Christmases, enjoy your family. Cottrell, go have a pina colada for me on the beach somewhere. But have fun, enjoy it, boys. Enjoy the time with your families and your loved ones. Cherish it. Unfortunately, all three of us know it's not given every year. So enjoy it, cherish it, and enjoy your days, boys.
And I love you all. Have a good night. Take care, y'all.